What's on your mind, Johnny?
Well,
First of all, hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Liban is listening with me and Johnny. Hey, Johnny, what's on your mind, brother?
hold on. Three things I want to say.
He wants to say one, two, three, three things.
Look at you. You change your personality completely the second you're like, welcome.
This is what happens. I turn on. I'm like, I'm
You-
ready to go, bro. One, two, three, boom. Let's go. Show
Hardest working,
business.
hardest working man in show business.
Carrying the show on my back. Come on, let's go. My back is hurting from carrying the show.
Three things I want to say. First of all,
Mhm.
we've abandoned so many of the good ideas we had in the first episode. The fading in and the fading out, which I thought was going to be a hallmark of this podcast. We haven't done any of that.
Okay.
We should
And
do that.
you're blaming that on me.
No, I'm not blaming it on you, but I think we should. I don't know. Listen,
Well,
I'll edit.
you need
Let
to
me edit
remind me
some
of these
episodes.
things. You
Let
need
me
to
edit
remind
some.
me.
Let me edit some episodes. I'll do some freaky shit with my own edits.
Okay, all right. Let's see what happens when I send it your
Actually,
way.
wait until I finish working now. When I'm done with
Nah,
recording,
nah, nah. It's too late. You've said it. You want ownership of that. Let's go. Take it.
it is quite intense, though, isn't it? You're gonna have to put an episode a week. I mean, first of all, getting a schedule for like every week, and then edit it. That's a lot of work, especially the way we do it, where we ramble on for 3 hours and we have to cut out 70% of, isn't it? Don't you think so?
I mean, we don't need to. We can stop rambling for 3 hours. We don't need to do that. Let's just stick to. Let's keep it to a tight hour. I don't know why we went so big. Let's come back
And
down
we,
to earth.
but we don't bring anything. That's the thing. We don't have anything to bring. It's my fault. It's because I'm working. I don't have like, when we started this thing, I was literally coming every day, every time with like tons of notes to talk
Mm-hmm.
about. And now I don't have anything because I've got to be working, you know?
Mm-hmm. I got something that happened a few days ago that I can talk about. I'm not sure you're going to believe me. You're probably going to think I'm making this up for the podcast.
Oh, we're recording a podcast now.
Mate, we've been recording it as soon as I said welcome to Liban is listening.
No,
Haven't you
you don't
not
have to,
you've noticed
that
my
doesn't,
personality changes?
yeah, but
I'm a new
we don't,
person now.
it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to. We can fade it. We can talk it in. You're going to cut this to pieces anyway, and we'll put it in and out. So something happened to you the other day then.
Something happened. Do you
All
want to
right,
hear
go on.
about it?
Yeah, go on.
Um, for the first time in almost 20 something years, I almost got the shit beat out of me, Johnny.
Really?
Yes. So I was on my way home from I went swing dancing on Wednesday evening, or was it Thursday? Anyway, so at some point in the middle of the week, I went out for to dance a bit, and then on the way home, around 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm walking. I'm walking.
Wait, when did this happen? This happened before we recorded the last episode.
No, it happened between the last recording and today.
Right. Okay. Go on.
So I'm walking back from dancing, and then I'm looking down on my phone just to change songs because I'm listening to music as I'm walking. And then as I look up, I see a guy walking straight at me, like just giving me just angry, angry eyes. And
What
then
kind of guy? First of all, what time of day is this?
this is 1 o'clock at night, sort of 1:30.
And is it a well lit street?
It's medium,
Dark
medium.
street? Is
It's
it a
a
high
dark.
street?
No. It's a side street. It's a residential suburban street. So there's some
Dangerous.
lights.
Very
There's some
quiet.
lights, but it's very very quiet. It's just me and this dude on this entire road.
All right. Now, what's this guy like? Describe this guy.
I'd say he was between like 20 and 25, so he's like much younger than me.
Right.
He was yeah he was tall and fucking yeah strong looking. He looked like a strong lad.
He was built. What was he wearing?
He was well typical, just like a bomber jacket and a hoodie and some trousers and trainers and a hat.
Right.
Just your
Okay.
typical young guy walking out and about
Well,
at
I don't
night.
see young guys like that.
And
You know.
he's walking right at me. And then as I look up at the phone, we're like 3 to 5 meters away from each other. And
Yeah.
then through my headphones, I hear him say, "If you bump into me, I'll break your fucking glasses."
Is he saying he's angry?
He's angry. He's looking for a fight. He's not like he saw me looking at my phone, walking in a straight line, and then he aligned himself so that I would bump into him if I didn't look up.
Was it a big pavement? How wide is the pavement?
Mate, I wasn't even on the pavement because it's a residential street and it's in the middle of the night. I was walking actually on the middle of the road where the cars are.
Right, so there's loads of space,
There's
but
loads of
he
space. The guy literally is out in the middle of the night looking for a fight.
and he says that when he's 3 feet away from you.
Yeah, he's very close. I look up because I didn't even sense that somebody was there until I heard his voice, and then he said, "If you bump into me, I'll break your fucking glasses."
As you're walking.
As we're walking,
That's
and
quite a
then
long sentence. And by the time he finished that sentence, how far was you from him?
1 meter, he was right up in my face. So then I was like, "What the fuck?" I just like reacted to the motion and
Yeah,
dodged sideways, and then he
yeah.
kept walking.
And then you was like,
What? I was literally like, what the fuck just happened?
did you
I didn't know what just happened. Like I was so surprised.
did you not feel compelled to say something after that? Indignant.
No, because I don't want to fucking get murdered in the middle of the night by some angry dude.
Who says you get, listen, you're a war vet.
Listen,
You're
my
a war vet.
my Ukrainian passions aside,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was so surprised and so like,
I think you manifested that with your bloodlust from the last episode.
what?
Your bloodlust from the last episode, your desire for violence, your mind focused on these glorious visions of violence. You manifested that in your
And then
life.
reality gave me an opportunity to express my inner desire
Yes.
for violence, and
Reality gave
I
you, yeah, a real version of what you was practically begging for in the last episode.
I turned into a whimpering pussy. I was like, "Oh, what? No, go ahead, please, sir."
Oh, yeah.
Ah, fucking hell.
Did you
That's
not
that.
feel humiliated?
No, no. I felt kind of sorry for the dude actually.
Why would you feel sorry for him?
I don't know. The more so that happened, and then I kept walking, and then in my mind I just kept going over it, and I almost wish like I'd stopped and had a chat with him just because I can't
Had a
imagine.
chat. He
I
wouldn't have
can't
been chatting now, would he?
Probably not, but I can't
He's one of these
imagine.
feral creatures that London is full of, right?
But that's
He's one
so
of those like
fucked up. How
he's
fucked up is this guy's life that he's out in the middle of the night just walking around looking for a fight?
that's the
That's
London
fucked up, man.
mentality. London has an undercurrent of violence. I think London has this undercurrent of violence, just like you put so many people in like a small place, and it creates this like territorialism, this primal territorialism where everyone's
But
constantly
Johnny,
and
the thing
so
is, I've been on plenty of nights out, and I've seen guys who have gotten drunk, and then in their drunken state, their inner aggression comes out. This guy was stone cold sober. This guy, he didn't smell of alcohol. He didn't
yeah, but
look
he
like
might
he
have
was
been
off his head. He literally just looked like a very like his consciousness was fully there, and he was just looking for an aggressive fight to get into.
well, it sounds like maybe he was pissed off about something. Maybe he was pissed off. But London is full of people like that. You know that, right? You went to
Yeah,
an inner city school. You know what it's like.
yes,
There's
yes,
like
but I've not seen that. I've not seen that in a long time, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, because
Literally the last time I saw that was when I was in school.
yeah,
Since I left school, I've not seen that.
mate, because you're middle class now. That's
Oh
why you
shit!
never
Have I
said.
left my working class roots behind? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, well, yeah, probably. You don't. Well, I don't know if you don't come up against. It also hasn't London been like gentrified completely as well.
Well,
So like, a
not
lot
my
of that, but
area,
that's
not quite yet. My area is still hanging on to its disgusting low class nature.
yeah. Was this close to your area?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that shit happens all the time, man. Well, from my memory of London, like when I was last living there,
Hmm.
it's just like that. And I remember I always get this feeling of violence under the surface in London. If you could feel there's just like this people are angry, this deep anger. And it's a territorialism, it's primal. Humans weren't meant to constantly be surrounded by hundreds and thousands of other people.
Mm.
And I think it creates, especially in young men, this sense of, territorialism, which often manifests as anger. I felt it all the time in London. You talk about having violent fantasies. I used to have violent fantasies in London all the time. I feel this tension.
Mm.
You just see people on a train. You think, fuck you. Fuck you. Stab you, you cunt. Don't even know the guy.
Do you
You
know
don't
what?
get that. You
No, I
don't
do
feel
get
that.
that. I get that. I get that quite a lot. It's quite fun.
Maybe you don't have a context because you don't have spent like a long time abroad. But it's like when I lived abroad and I compare it with like how it was in Canada, which is
Hmm.
like the softest place on the planet.
Hmm.
It's like, you come back to London, immediately your back gets tense. I don't know. I think that's
But
just
I actually like that. I like the tension. I like it. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
don't. I don't. It's hilarious. Like, I mean, I'm in Eastern Europe, right?
Hmm.
In a country that, you know, I mean, all of Eastern Europe knows war, and it has this reputation for being macho and tough and grim and gritty. And anytime someone like, and it's much nicer than London in that regard. Like you would never get. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to get genuinely worried when I was in London with my girlfriend.
Hmm.
If she went out at night, I would not let her go out at night because it's dangerous, man. London is dangerous. How can you say that like you're surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. It's just been a while since it's affected me.
Yeah, out of the blow.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's been a while. I think part of it is also because of the area that I live in is a very rough and dangerous area. However, having grown up in this area, I know all the drug dealers, I know all the kids in the gangs. I like they know my face. They know I'm part of the local sort of furniture. It's all like
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not an outsider that they can have a go at because
yeah.
I know exactly where they live and I know their families. And if shit goes down, I know exactly who I'm going to report to the police. I'm going to say it's that kid down the road who lives in that house when his older brother is so and so and his younger brother is so and so. So it's like nobody ever has a go at me in my area, and I don't really go into other areas where I'm not known, where that are rough.
But that's the
So
thing, isn't it? It's like your areas, maybe like your estate, the next couple of estates. But then there's
mhm,
like thousands of people in estates that are just outside that you don't know and they don't know.
mhm.
Like this guy.
Yeah, yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
it was interesting. It was interesting. I quite, you know, thank God nothing happened, but the fact that the possibility was there is quite fun. It was exciting. It was good.
what if you said no?
Then it's a fight, isn't it? It's a middle of the night fight for no reason. It's just
What would
me
you
and a guy squaring up
and what
for
would you do?
absolutely no reason.
Well, you're vulnerable because you're already holding your phone. Is he bigger
Yeah.
than you?
Um, he was definitely stronger looking. He looks like a guy who goes to the gym on a very regular basis. I feel like this is the kind of fight I'd get into, and I would get out of breath in about 20 seconds, and he'd still be revving up, ready to go.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you do swing dancing.
Yeah, but yeah, that's gonna help me. Me doing triple steps around him,
You got good
rock
feet. Listen,
step, triple
you
step, go
know how
around
it
him.
works. There's a very deep link between dance and martial arts. You know?
Yeah, yeah. My footwork is gonna keep me out of his reach. I'm gonna be bobbing and weaving. He's gonna overextend. I'm gonna counter punch, get him on his glass chin, knock him the fuck out.
That's right. You need to develop a martial art from swing dancing. You're gonna grab this cunt. You're
Yeah.
gonna sweep him back.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna twirl him around,
Yeah. And then do a
and
little judo chop to the neck. Just take him out.
you're gonna twirl him around and tap dance up there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's depressing. That's depressing,
What
man.
would you have done, Johnny? What would you have done?
I'd have probably done the same because when you said it caught you off guard, it actually reminded me of something,
Yeah.
which annoys me. Such a petty little thing. I was on the bus back from. Remember, we used to work at nights.
Yeah.
I was on the bus back, had my headphones in, right? No one on the bus because it's like the morning bus coming out of the center. because we're
Mm-hmm.
working nights. And I have my foot on the seat in front. At the back of the bus, I have my foot on the seat in front. This is the bottom floor.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm listening to my tunes. I'm half asleep. I'm ready to go home and fall asleep. And then I noticed some woman has turned around to me. And she said something, but I couldn't hear her because I got my tunes on.
Mm-hmm.
So I take my earbud out and I say,
Mm-hmm.
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, yeah. And then she turns back. And I was like, what? What? And then
So
it took me
she told
it
you off
took
for something, and you
yes,
didn't
it took
hear what she told you off
I did
about,
yeah,
and she thought she said your sorry
yes,
was an apology.
yes.
She's like, yeah, that's right,
And
motherfucker.
I think it was my foot being on the thing in front, which wasn't bugging her at all. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's fucking London bus. The seats are dirty. My feet are clean. Like I've been stepping in shit with her. And that irritated the hell out of me. That irritated the hell out of me. It made me very indignant.
Yeah, how dare you interpret my sorry as an apology? It was never an
No,
apology.
yeah, I just didn't hear what she said.
That's outrageous. She
That
thinks
man.
to this day, that woman is out there thinking that she told you off and victoriously sort of made you change
Yeah,
your ways.
yeah. But oh god,
Outrageous.
they have loads of incidences of like nearly rough encounters in London like that, and I always regret that I never escalated it.
But I think you know what,
When I
like
look back on
you
it,
know when we discuss violent fantasies, you
yeah,
it's a dream to think that anything good is going to come out of escalating it. Nothing good's going to come from
nothing's
that.
good, but I still regret never escalating stuff.
Yeah.
They would say you don't regret the things you do, you regret the things you don't do. And for me, that's escalating potentially violent encounters.
Okay,
You
so
know,
here's a let's play out the fantasy scenario. The guy said, "I'll break your fucking glasses," and I take out my headphones, and then I'm like, "Okay, go on then, break my fucking glasses."
no, don't do that. Look, the guy's bigger than you, right?
Yeah,
He's bigger than you. He's tougher than you.
and
Sucker punch the cunt.
he's
You have to sucker
15
punch.
years younger than me, easily 15 years younger than me.
You have to. You got to get the first hit in.
So just sucker punch, and then
Yeah. I mean, you'd probably get your ass handed to you.
I'll
That's
get. Let's
probably.
be honest, I'm gonna get my ass handed to
But
me.
wouldn't that be an experience?
I mean, it would be an experience. I'm not sure it's a good one. It's not one that I want to, you know, have.
Yeah. That's just terrible. I mean, you're probably right. Well, fuck it. I mean,
Although here's
whatever.
a question. Here's a question.
You shouldn't escalate. I'm joking about that.
How does the situation change if I wasn't there on my? It's one thing for me to just ignore him and keep walking when I'm on my own.
Yeah.
What if I was next to my girlfriend and he did that?
You have to do something, don't you?
You can't. Like, here's the question: do you let this guy emasculate you in front of your lady,
Yeah, you
or
can't.
do you try to be like the modern man and be like, oh no, it's I hope you understand, darling. I just didn't want to get into a dangerous situation. And what is it? What do we do?
Yeah, what do you do? I don't know. I don't know. In London, I wouldn't know because the guy probably was a nut job there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you have to do something. At the end of the day, women do not like, and it's fundamental. Why you get me talk about women so much? You know my opinion. You know what my prediction. Everyone in the
No, I'm
audience
not
who's
trying
listened to any
to.
episode
I'm not
knows what I'm
trying to
going to
get
say.
you to say anything. All I'm
Right? You know
saying
what I'm going
is,
to say.
I think that you know the girls that I've been with, they would probably say out loud, they'd say, no, it's a good thing to avoid a fight. It's a good, but I'm not sure if they'd feel that deep down or if they would still see me the same way if they saw me back down from that kind of situation.
Yeah, it's primal.
It's one thing to say it, it's another thing for what you feel.
Yes, it's what you feel. Yes, it's there's something primal about you can't deny biological realities like that. And for a woman to see her man stand aside to another man so easily without even a fight, in that case, it's much better to just get involved,
Take the beating.
get, take the beating. Yeah. I mean,
Oh, well,
you gotta.
I'm just very grateful I wasn't walking with a woman. Oh, thank God. Thank God I didn't have to take a beating for the sake of a woman's opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is, where I live, the women are very feisty,
Yeah.
and the chances are the woman will be the first one to answer back to a guy like that. I mean, I would say I've seen multiple instances of domestic violence, all of them women on men, and they've been pretty pretty mental,
Oh
you
no.
know.
Oh dear.
You know.
Although, you know what's interesting is in London, I'm so used to like being hyper aware of drunk dudes who are just walking around, not necessarily looking for a fight, but are just acting out in like with drunken behavior.
Yeah.
And I'm just it's water off a duck's back. I don't really notice it anymore. But a couple of times in the past, a drunk dude will have spilled something on the floor that is sort of hitting my stuff or whatever. And for me, I would just pick up my stuff and move on and ignore it.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
a girl I was at the time literally stood up and started telling the dude off. And I was like, what the hell is this? I've
Well, women
like,
can. Women can. I mean, women are literally immune. You know, women
mhm.
know that they're not going to get, you know, anything done to them by a man. They're immune, so of course they can afford to be
Yeah,
more. You know,
I was surprised by it and also kind of touched by it because I was like, oh shit, she's kind of standing up for me. But at the same time, I was like,
yeah.
I would have just picked up our stuff and said, hey, let's get out of here.
Well, it's weird. It's weird when you're trying to have a good time. I mean, if you're out in a piss and something, and someone tries to start trouble,
Hmm.
I just don't like bad vibes like that. So
Yeah.
I would always try and de-escalate. Like if I saw someone else, you know, about to get, you know, I
Hmm.
would always try and de-escalate stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But those like individual encounters where you have like in London,
Hmm.
like if you have a kid screaming at you or something like that. You know what I find so depressing about that? I don't even think it's about like masculinity, emasculating, whatever. The thing about it, I just find all that stuff so grotty and fucking tacky and shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
About London. It's an aspect of London. There's something very tacky about London.
But it's
Just
not
like
that
this,
it's
like
not that
you,
common. It's not that common. You experience this once in a while, but it's not like this is this thing I have to deal with on a daily basis.
once in a while is too much, though.
Yeah.
Once in a while is too much still. And it's something about, and it's just one of the many things about London that I always found like, it's, like I always find it kind of hilarious that like, rather hilarious. I think there's something like people, especially people who move to London, people have this idealistic of London as this great old city of Sherlock Holmes, and it's this, the city of gentlemen where people dress up and all this stuff. We talked about this. We talked about this on a previous podcast?
I think it's just something we've discussed amongst
Yeah,
ourselves.
like London has this like very, you think of London's supposed to be sophisticated, metropolitan, old city with a lot of history, a history of nice shows and beautiful buildings and Victorian
I mean,
culture,
don't
and then and
let's
then you
not.
get there and it's just these shit bags
No,
on
but
every
don't
street
let's
corner.
not get carried away. That all of that stuff that you described, that stuff is there, but it's also all this other stuff that you and I have known and lived with. The stuff that
Which is,
people picture isn't a fantasy. That stuff is there. There are beautiful Victorian buildings here. You do have your sort of Savile Row people
but
and
the
your,
vibe, I'm talking more vibe. The actual vibe of London is crappy teenage kids in school uniforms
but that all
listening to.
depends, Johnny, that all depends on where you are, who you're spending your time with, and what you're doing. If you're in that world where you don't go outside your estate and all you're doing is hanging around your estate, that is the only vibe that you're gonna
Maybe,
get. But if you're
maybe.
if you're interacting with like the kind of people who do have the lifestyle that you described at the beginning, you're gonna get a flavor of that as well. I think you do have both realities there. You've got all sorts of whatever reality you want, it is here. You just need to find it and immerse yourself in it. And then blind yourself to everything else like a
But
horse with
that's the
blinders on.
you have to blind yourself, and it's like I tell you one thing. Maybe I don't have a. Obviously, every perspective I have is biased, but it's my own experience. I've lived in a few major cities in the world, right?
Mhm.
New York, Montreal,
Buenos
Vienna,
Aires,
Buenos Aires.
yeah, Johannesburg,
every every city,
Tokyo,
I've never
Seoul.
I've never.
Bangkok, Beijing, Hong Kong,
Go on,
Mogadishu,
go on. Just an hour of you listing
Cairo,
cities. Go on.
Alexandria,
You'll run out eventually. Go on. Go
Denver,
on.
Boulder, Colorado. I don't know. Okay, I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please
Oh, you're
go.
on the
Go ahead.
American one. You just hit the American ones. I thought you at least go for another minute with that.
No, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. I'm sorry I interrupted. I'll never interrupt again. Go on,
Uh,
please.
well, fuck, I forgot what I was saying.
You've lived in a lot of major
Anyway,
cities all over the world. Yeah.
yeah, look, it might just be my perspective, right? But when I lived in major cities, I never got that shitty, violent, tacky vibe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in New York, there's not like uh, annoying kids, like just being annoying everywhere, you
But
know?
don't you think that is there for the locals
Who
who
look
grew
like
up there?
shit as well. They
Don't you
all wear
think?
this tatty school uniforms and look ridiculous.
Listen, John. Don't you think that stuff is there for the people who grew up there and who know it like for real, as opposed to because you're a visitor to their city, you're not going to see the same thing that they see.
Well, no, I don't think it's there. I went in New York. I mean, this is a long time ago. I was in New York. I literally went to the blackest area in New York because I was looking for the cheapest rent possible. I was the only white guy. I was actually on the train. Like for 3 stops, I was the only white guy on the train. Got off, and it was like a get out. It was like the get out back when
Hmm.
New York had get outs, I guess. What is this? This would have been in 2005 or something. I don't know. And it was a bit weird for me, but I was like, it was still fine, you know, and they still had a decent, okay-ish vibe there. There wasn't this vibe of like danger, you know.
Hmm.
And in Montreal, I literally went to again looking for the cheapest rent. I went to the other side of the tracks, which everyone told me it was so dangerous. Oh my god, you don't want to go there, which is ludicrous. I mean, Canada is like a bubble. It's really like a bubble. They have no clue about the realities of the world, you know. And it was like the buildings are slightly dirtier, and a few people look quite scruffy, and there's a couple of drug addicts there, and that was it. It was not like I'm gonna get fucking
Oh God.
sliced up in
That
if I
is,
walk it.
that is so sweet that they would look at that and think, "Oh my God, this is such a dangerous area." That's where you
Yeah.
don't want to go.
No, I mean, Canadians have no clue about the world, really. They have no clue about the world. And then
Oh,
and then
that's so sweet.
Vienna was actually like I think what a lot of people think London is going to be. It's genuinely an old city that still has that the vibe of like, oh, I'm stepping into the past here. And there is a sense of, you know, like you go into like a little coffee. Maybe Paris had a little bit like London, where you kind of I remember I was in Paris, but I nearly got mugged there, but I was
Hmm.
smart enough to tell that the guy was trying to
That
mug me.
you could tell that something was going to happen.
Yes, the guy was asking for money, and I could tell he was just asking me to try and get my wallet out because I looked like a tourist backpack or whatever.
Hmm.
And I was like, no, mate, no,
No,
mate,
mate. No, mate.
not me,
I've been
not me.
around the block, mate.
But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But that's one of the things I don't like about London. You get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get
The
you. I hear you.
vibe. I'm talking about the vibes here.
I hear you. I hear
And the
you.
vibe of like you said, you have to blank it out. Maybe I can't blank it out. That's actually one thing I don't like about big cities that you have to live this blinkered existence. You
But
can't
you
be
have
an
to because you can't absorb everything. There's so much. There's so
exactly.
much like noise and people and lights
Yes,
and sensations that to just function on a daily basis, you've got to ignore a lot of things.
exactly. And I don't like that. I want to go through life a more open person. I want to go through life as a more open person, not, you know what I mean?
No, I hear
Where
you.
you can walk down the street and look at other people, and it's
Yeah,
not
that's
confrontational. You
a
can't
big
do that in
city. A
London.
big city is not no, not just London, but I think any big city that's not the
Yeah,
place for it
yeah,
because
that's right. Any
people are
big
too
city.
busy. Whether you're in New
Yeah,
York or whether you're in London or whether you're in Tokyo, you're gonna have to blinker out a lot of things just to get on with your day.
yeah. I don't like that. I like a place where you say hello to people when you go in the shop.
Oh,
You can
oh,
look at other people in
gross.
the street. Just
Oh,
nice.
Don't look at me. Fuck off, man.
They do that here, where they
Do they
use, and
say? Do
then
you say good morning to each other out there?
yeah, if you see someone in the building, you say, all right, let's say all right. If you go in the shop, you always say hello when you go in the shop to the guy at the
Oh,
shop, whatever.
disgusting. That's so
To be
intimate.
honest with you, I mean, the city I'm in is quickly becoming a major city. It's literally being gentrified. It's ridiculous. Wherever I go, it becomes fucking gentrified. And so this
Oh,
city is now
oh.
becoming like that. You can see it, you know.
I'm
But
sorry.
anyway,
I'm still hung up on you going around saying hello to people. I find
it's
that
nice. It's a
is
nice
really
vibe.
upsetting. No, it's too intimate. You might as well have sex with me. Like, what is this? Get away
Saying
from me. I
hello to
don't know you.
people.
No, it's too much. It's too much. Get away.
Wasn't you saying when we did the Ukraine episode, you I maybe you wasn't saying you missed it, but you know, you're saying your sense of community. Isn't that nice? Isn't that what we was talking about? Like having a
Yes,
sense of community,
but
having a sense of
the sense of community in a big city is that we all respect each other's distance. We all respect each other's blinkered existence, and we all look at each other, and we all come to a common agreement without anyone ever having to say it out loud. We all agree to mind each other. You know, mind your own business. Don't look at me. Leave me alone. Don't make eye contact. I'm trying to get to this place. I'm trying to do this. You could. I have seen. I have been on the train, literally on the train, everybody sitting down packed, and there has been like couples arguing right in front of me, like just going mental at each other, and everybody in the carriage just doesn't even look at them, just like gives them their own little space, just doesn't even see it. We all just ignore it equally. I've seen people crying in the middle of a crowded street, just broken down crying because they've had, whatever, somebody they know died, they got broken up with, whatever, they're crying. People leave them alone.
that's
People like,
terrible.
that's a
That's
great thing.
terrible.
That's an amazing thing.
I've seen women crying in London, and I always stop and say, "Are you all right?"
Disgusting. You have broken the covenant. You have broken the common covenant that says we leave people alone
That's
to
not.
experience
That's
what they need to
terrible.
do.
That's terrible. You don't know that woman might need someone that maybe. Yeah, mate. That's terrible. That's
No,
terrible.
no, absolutely
It's
not.
fucking. I don't want to live in that world. I
You
don't want to
gotta
live in a
give
world
people the
where
space to just fucking be crazy, be weird, go cry if you need to.
I think literally the last time I was in London was it last year. We met up that time.
Hmm.
Last year when I was literally off to get my plane back. I was walking up. I can't remember the name of the street, and there was a woman in the window up on the second floor, looking out the window, crying. And I
Hmm.
literally stopped. I was looking out, and I shouted up, "Are you all right?"
You humiliated her. You
She was
should
she was literally hanging out the window, crying.
you humiliated her. You should have let her hang out the window and cry. You don't ask her why she's crying or if she's okay.
I don't
You
care.
don't acknowledge it. You leave her alone to stand
That's
outside with her
terrible.
head out the window and cry.
All right. Jokes aside, do you think
I'm
that's
genuinely
that's
not joking. I think you think I'm joking, but I'm not.
let's say you got in a fight with that guy the other day.
Hmm.
He beat you up,
Hmm.
right? Nicked your trainers. So you're barefoot. Your phone
Yeah.
is gone. Your
Yeah.
money's gone.
I want
Everything.
nobody to look at me. I want
And
everybody to
someone
just ignore my humiliation. Let me wallow in my own filth and let me pick myself up. Let me dust myself off. Let me get home so I
it's
can
not
have a
just it's
shower.
not just you can't walk. That guy gave you a fucking hernia. He
Well,
punched you up.
obviously, at that
Your
point, you got
legs.
to call an ambulance.
You're
Let's not get
wailing in
carried.
the street. You're
Nah, come
wailing
on.
in the street.
You're taking this to the nth degree. It doesn't need to go. Let's come back down to earth. Come
If
back down
someone
to
is
earth,
begging,
Johnny.
if someone is begging for help in the street, would you
Yeah, of
would you
course
do
I would.
anything?
Of course I would. If someone's
Well,
asking for it, absolutely. But they've got to ask. Otherwise, you assume that they're handling their own shit.
I don't know. I would always, if I see someone crying, I would always say, "You're right." Always.
Uh,
And that's the
you,
world I want to live in
all right, you
because
you
that's
enjoy
a
that world, but that's not the world of a big city. That's not
I
how we
no
do
fuck the big
things.
cities. Fuck the big cities.
It's great. Come back, come back. We need you. We need people like you.
I mean, what would you I mean, anyway, what would you do if a couple's arguing on a train? That's just embarrassing. Of course, you're going to ignore that.
Yeah,
You know
let them argue.
what?
Get
But
get
what
go
if
on with it.
yeah? I still don't see what you love about the big city, Liban. I don't know.
I just enjoy the vibe. I enjoy the tension. I enjoy the guy saying he'll break my glasses.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really, you have to because that's oh my God, I don't know. That's terrible. Though. Well, one of the things I was going to say, but I guess, I mean, we couldn't really talk about it, but we didn't do like a business and stocks update since the first episode.
Because we can't. It's dead. Nothing is like everything is just down and crashing. And I haven't been
That's
I haven't been in the market playing anything. Have you?
Well, I've been thinking a lot about. I'm trying. I think this Russia thing is a great opportunity to make money.
Go on.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out where we're going. I did want to say something because I want to revise what I said last time. It's kind of pointless because if we talk about it now, this podcast is going to come out in like a month, so it would sort of be irrelevant. But last podcast I said, look, don't worry about it. The American economy is going to recover, and inflation's going to be fine because everyone's going to ask for the dollar. I don't think that's really the case, maybe so much now.
Go on. Break it down.
Well, I think they literally pushed the American economy right up to the edge with everything. And I think they were going to do the rate hikes and all that stuff. And okay, fine. But this invasion has set everything off. I mean, you saw what I was talking about with Mr. A in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely think that the American economy is on very shaky ground right now because with these sanctions, oil prices are going to rise. And people think oil prices, I can't fill my car, it's a bit more expensive. It's not just your fucking car. You need oil for everything. The whole economy runs on oil. Production, logistics, transport, manufacturing, plastics. If oil prices rise, everything gets more expensive. Everything slows down.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole economic recovery is tougher to do.
So that combined with the already existing problems with inflation and rate hikes means
there's another problem.
Yeah.
There's another problem as well, which is what I was saying with Mr. A, which is that, the convoy truckers, they protested. The Canadians responded by freezing their bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And another effect of that, which wasn't really reported a lot, but it was a big issue for the Canadian banks, was a lot of people who didn't have their accounts frozen started taking their money out. They lost confidence in those banks, which you would, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if someone froze a bank, your bank froze someone else's bank account. Okay, you might think, oh, I'm safe. I don't do anything wrong. But you have to admit still your confidence is a little less.
Yeah, some people, definitely. Some people
and if
be
you're
concerned by that.
And if you have like £100,000 in a saving account in a bank that just froze someone else's account, and that's all the money you have in the world.
Yeah.
However safe you think you are, and whatever
you're going to de-risk. You're going to at least take a bunch of that out and put it somewhere else, if not all of it.
And what the Americans did to the Russians, they froze their assets that they were holding in the dollars and the dollar assets. And you've got to think like, right, if you're China, Saudi Arabia, China and Saudi Arabia alone, like China's looking at that. They hold trillions in dollar assets, right? And the Chinese are not like, well, hang on. If they could whip up something against, if Russia invaded this and they freeze the assets, we keep doing stuff with Taiwan. What if we actually want to do something with Taiwan, or somewhere else in the world?
Mm-hmm.
What if they whip up the Uyghur stuff? They could whip up that Uyghur stuff, the media, and then put pressure. We've got trillions, and they're just going to freeze it. They might want to de-risk. Saudi Arabia, same thing.
So how are they going to de-risk it? Where are they going to move that money to?
Well, that's the big problem for China because there's no other assets.
Because their economy
where are you going to store
like,
trillions? Yeah.
Absolutely. Like as much as people like to talk about China and the US being sort of opponents, their economies are like super intertwined. They couldn't go to war without destroying their own countries.
It's not about going to war, but
No, but I mean,
if
they couldn't have an
if
economic
freezing
war
assets,
like
yeah,
China having an economic war with the US would benefit neither of them
yeah, it
because they're
wouldn't.
so intertwined.
But still, they hold a lot in the US, and suddenly the US is like, I don't know. I think that you've got to factor in that they're going to de-risk a little bit, and even if they de-risk just a little bit, right? You're talking
Hmm.
about trillions there. I mean, Saudi Arabia, all right, forget China, just talk about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, constantly in the mix, right? Middle East, constantly in the mix. I mean, they already sanction Iran. Okay, Iran is not as wealthy as like Saudi Arabia, whatever, but do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other people holding, and so you've got inflation, oil prices are going to rise, slowing the economy, and you've probably got some elements in the world who might want to be a bit shaken and are going to want
Yeah.
to de-risk out the dollar.
Hmm. So the recovery that you and I were hoping for, where we could jump back into the US stock market, is probably not going to come for a long time. And even if it does come, it'll come
Yeah.
at very slow pace.
Well, I don't know about if we'll come at a slow pace. I mean, and then you got the rate hikes, which still haven't happened.
Yeah.
Everyone's expecting, at the same time, Americans have been fucking around with their treasuries so much, which is supposed to balance out like what's happening with the dollar, but they've been fucking around with that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the kind of guy whose sky is falling. You know me. Ever since I've been investing in stocks, I've been super bullish, right? Super
Right.
bullish on everything. But now I don't know. This to me feels like they really pushed it to the limit. I mean, it's really so much strain here. So I don't really know what to tell people to invest in because I'm trying to figure it
Don't
out.
tell people anything. Just say, hold on, wait and see what happens.
Hold on and wait and see what happens. Yeah,
But I think
I
we've
would.
been in that holding pattern for months now. With that, like our holding pattern started in January of 2022. We're now in March, and we're still waiting to see what's going to happen because it's it's literally just been going up and down around the same sort of numbers, crashing occasionally, going back up a little bit, crashing. It's it's not clear what's going to happen or drive forward the
Right, but
next
here's the thing,
rebound.
Liban. You're thinking like a poor person. You're thinking like a poor person.
Go
You
on.
have your money and you're like, oh, I can jump in the stock market, make money there, and then I come out. Right? Rich people don't think like that. Rich people are thinking money itself can increase and decrease in value. There's no such thing as like, oh, I've just got it in cash, so it's fine. I don't even have to think about it. Rich people always have their money in the place that's improving. Do you get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
If the currency is getting devalued, they're getting into stocks or commodities. If stocks or commodities are crashing, they're going into. Do you know what I'm saying? You've always got to be having your assets as it is. Of course, we don't have as many options as the rich because, like, I mean, to be honest with you, if I did have enough money, I'd just be buying real estate everywhere because probably the next fucking 10 years is going to get